All right, so we're doing, again, left-right parabolas today, and it's exactly the same thing. What do you notice is different? Yeah, it's not x squared anymore, it's y squared. And all that does is it flips that, that parabola from being a U or an M shape to either turning left or right. So it'll look like this when you graph it. This one would be a positive and this one would be a negative because it's facing to the left, it's going to be negative and the other one's going to be positive, okay? So if your leading coefficient, we've talked about transformations and how they happen. We are going to talk about those transformations and the difference in them compared to a regular up-down parabola, all at the same time. But the way that you work them is exactly the same. You just have the other variable instead of having x plus 5 squared or whatever, you're going to have y plus 5 squared. All right, so you work it the exact same way. So I'm going to go to number 2 because it's all positive. So let's just work with the easy one first. And we're going to work it the exact same way. So what was the first step on the other ones that you did? What do you have to do first?
Subtract 57.
Move that 57 over. So we moved the 57. We got y squared plus 14y. And then we put the blanks. We do the same exact thing. There's nothing any different. Okay. Remember, to get this blank, it's 14 divided by 2 squared. What is 14 divided by 2 squared?
49.
What I do to one side, I do the other. Since I didn't take anything out or put anything back in, it's just regular. All right. Clean it up. What is 49 minus 57? And then this will change into y plus, so square root sine square root 7 squared. Same thing we've been doing, nothing different, right? Okay. And then what's our last step?
Add the 8 back over.
Add the 8. So y plus 7 squared and add the 8 over. All right. So before, when we took out the vertex, we would read it -7, 8. But because we flipped it, we have to flip everything that we're thinking. Okay. So you kind of have to read it backwards. Still the same. This is going to stay the same. Nothing's going to change with this number, and this number will change signs. Okay. So anytime, regardless of where it's at, when we pull it outside of parentheses or put it into parentheses, we change the signs. So on this, it's with the y, so it's going to be your y coordinate. So you got to think backwards. So now read it backwards. So your vertex, keep this number, is going to be 8, and then change the sign of your other one, which is -7. So what is that transformation? How did the vertex move? Read it from here. It went to the right 8. So how would I graph this point? I would go right 8 and down 7. And then how do you know which way it opens? This is a positive. There's no leading coefficient. It's just a +1. So that means it opens to the right. And if you want to put open so that you know what that's for. So it opens to the right. So that's the only difference, y'all. That's it. All right. Look at number 3. I'm going to do another positive one, and then we'll start doing some other ones. So we'll do all the easy ones first. I'm going to skip around, do all the easy ones first, and then we'll go do some hard ones. All right. Number 3. There's also one from your homework, not Friday, but Thursday's homework, that a lot of you had questions about that I want to go over. Okay. So I want to do that after I finish these notes. All right. So x equals, we're going to do number 3. X equals y squared minus 2y minus 5. What's my first step?
Add the 5.
And then we're going to put in our blanks. Two divided by 2 squared.
1.
1. Put it in both because I didn't pull anything out. Rewrite it. 1 plus 5 is 6. Square root of the first, the sine, square root of the last. So y minus 1 squared. What's your last step? Subtract the 6. Y minus 1 squared. Subtract the 6. Where is your vertex?
6, -1.
-6. Remember, keep the outside, same sign. What do we do to the inside? Change it to a positive. Good job. All right. How does it open?
Opens to the right.
The right, because it's positive. That's it. All right. Again, I'm going to stick with all the positives. So I'm going to go to number 6. Number 6. What's different about number 6? There's
Got two.
still remember what I told you. Go ahead and move that 18 first and then work with the 2, okay? So go ahead and move that 18 first. So I'm going to subtract 18. And then work with the 2. So I'm going to pull that 2 out. So x minus 18. Pull the 2 out, you get y squared minus 4y, and now put your blank in. In this blank, you're doing 4 divided by 2 squared. What do we get?
4.
But remember, in this blank, it's what you took out times what you put in. What you took out was 2 times what you put in was 4, which gives you 8. And then just clean it up like normal. 8 minus 18. Come on, guys. 8 minus 18. Negative 10. Equals 2, parenthesis, square root, sine, square root. Y minus 2 squared. And then your last step is to move that 10 over. So your equation is x equals 2 times y minus 2 squared plus 10. What's your vertex?
10, 2.
Perfect. And which way does it open? It opens to the right. We're going to go to number 8, and then we'll do some negatives. And then we'll work with those fractions last. Some of you had questions about the fractions on your quiz. You know how I put that last question, like what did you have trouble with or whatever. So those are the 2 things. That one, number 4, because it didn't have a middle x, so it kind of threw you off a little bit. And then the ones with fractions. Okay. I think you all did fine, though. I don't think it was a big problem, but I just want to reiterate it. So number 8, what do I do first? Subtract the 44. If you want to go ahead and take the 6 out now, you can. I just did it in 2 steps to remind y'all of the 2 steps that we did on the last one. So if you want to go ahead and take it out, that's fine. So we get y squared plus 6y, and then we can put our blanks in. Remember that this blank is 6 divided by 2 squared. What do we get? 9. This blank is what we took out times what we put in. We took out a 6, we put in a 9. 6 times 9 is 54. And again, it should lower your number quite a bit. 54 minus 44. So x plus 10 equals 6. What goes in my parentheses? All of it. Y plus 3 squared. Last step. So x equals 6, y plus 3 squared. Subtract the 10. Perfect. What's your vertex? Negative 10, negative 3. Which way does it open? Good. And why does it open right? What's the 6 also going to do? Same thing it always does. What's that 6 in front do? If it's positive or negative, it flips it around. It tells you which way it goes. But what does like a 6 tell you compared to like a 1/2?
It stretches it.
Yes, a 6 makes it skinny. So it's going to be a little skinny one to the right. If it were like 1/4, it'd be a big fat one to the right. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so don't forget what that 6 does. All right, go back up to number 1. Back up to number 1. Sorry, y'all. You do the same exact thing that we just did. It's just a negative this time instead of a positive. So your first step is to get rid of that 52. So I'm going to add that 52 to the other side. And then we're going to take out a -1 because we don't want that negative leading coefficient. If it were a -2, we take out -2. All that does is change the sign. So we get y squared plus 14y, and then we put our blanks in. To get this blank, we do 14 divided by 2 squared, 49. This blank is what I put in times what I took out, or what I took out times what I put in. So -1 times 49, which is -49. And again, it should minimize your number. It should be a big, huge number. -49 plus 52. 3. You can leave that as -1, or you can just put it as a negative. It's up to you. I don't care which way. If you're doing multiple choice on your quiz, you will be. It'll just have the negative. It won't have the 1. Square root of the first sign, square root of the last. And then our last step, again, is to move that 3. So x equals negative y plus 7 squared, subtract the 3. What's your vertex? And then which way does this one open? And again, it opens left because it is negative. So x equals tells you it's going to be left or right. Why would you think that x equals would tell you left or right? Yeah, the x-axis goes left to right. So make sure you watch that on your tests, okay? That's the biggest thing. When they're all scrambled up, you guys forget, like, oh yeah, it's x equals. You do the work right and everything looks good, but then you forget that it's x equals and you don't treat it different, okay? So be careful. Number 4, first thing I need to do is move that 11. And then I'm going to take out my -4. So I have y squared minus 4y, and I can put in my blanks. What goes in that last blank? This one. A 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Squared is 4. What goes in this blank? Be careful. -16. Remember, it's -4 times 4. What you took out times what you put in. -16 plus 11?
-5.
-5 equals -4 square root sine square root of y minus 2 squared. Last step, move that 5. X equals -4 y minus 2 squared. Add the 5. What's your vertex? 5, 2. What's that transformation? Right 5 up 2. How do you graph it is basically what you're asking, okay? So if they ask you about transformations, how do you get to the vertex? You go right 5 up 2. Which way does it open? Good. Why does it open left? Fat or skinny? Look at it. Skinny, because it's a 4. Any number other than 1, above 1, is going to be a skinny or a stretch. Number 7. So we'll do 7, 9, and then we'll go back and do the fractions. 7, 9, and back and do the fractions. All right. Try to get it all at the same time. First step on number 7. Second step. Take out a -4. Add 66, take out a -4. So we get y squared minus 8y. Put your blanks in. 32 divided by -4 is -8. Take your 8, divide it by 2, and square it. Remember, in this one, 16 times -4. Sorry, y'all can't see that. There we go, -64. And again, it should minimize it. If it doesn't minimize it a lot, then you probably did something wrong. So be careful. -64 plus 66. So we get x plus 2 equals -4. What goes inside of parentheses? Y minus 4 squared. Last step. Thank you for answering. I appreciate it. Subtract your 2. What's your vertex? -2, +4. Which way does it point? Is it stretch or shrink?
Stretch.
Stretch makes it skinny. Again, think about like slime or Play-Doh or well, Play-Doh is not really a good example because any kind of putty, like if you stretch it, it gets really skinny. Okay, so think about stretch and skinny. All right, number 9. What do I do first? Subtract the 4 and then take out the negative. So y squared minus 4y. Put in your blanks. In this blank, 4 divided by 2 squared. In this blank, what you took out times what you put in gives you -4. -4 minus 4. Rewrite y minus 2. Square root, first sign, square root, square. Last step, add your 8. What's your vertex? 8, 2. So that means I went right 8 up 2. How does it open? Did it get fatter or skinnier? It's a trick question. Trick question. What's your number? A negative what? 1. 1 does absolutely nothing. Remember, when we multiply 1, it doesn't do anything. So there is no stretch or shrink on this one. Got it? All right. Fractions. We're going to jump up to number 5, and then we'll do number 10, and we'll be done. If y'all have questions, let me know. I forgot. I'm going to go over the 1. So these are the fractions. Some of you had trouble with fractions on Thursday's quiz. I don't know if you had any problems on Fridays, but if you did, check it out. And then I got to go over that other one as well, the number 4 on that quiz. All right. So let's do number 10 first, since they're all common denominators, and then we'll jump back up to number 5. I didn't realize they were different. How do I get rid of this denominator?
Multiply everything by 3.
Multiply everything by 3. So whatever your denominator is, that's what you're going to multiply by. So on this, all it's going to do is make this 3x, and then it's going to get rid of all those denominators. So you're going to have y squared plus 8y plus 13. Now it looks like our other ones. So that's it. Just multiply and get rid of that denominator. You don't want to work with it at all. All right. What do I do now? So subtract 13. Oh, sorry, equals y squared plus 8y, and I can put in my blanks. I don't have anything to take out on this other side, so we're good to go. 8 divided by 2 squared. What I do to one side, I do to the other, since I didn't take anything out. 16 minus 13 equals, rewrite y plus 4 squared. Do the same thing you've been doing, subtract 3. And then how do I get rid of that 3? Okay, so when we rewrite it, x equals, I'm squishing it on the side over here. Instead of writing y plus 4 squared over 3, what can I write?
1/3 y plus 4 squared.
Perfect. Y plus 4 squared. And then what's -3 over 3?
-1.
There's your equation right there. All right. So what's your vertex? -1, -4. Which way does it open? Right, because it's positive. And is it stretch or shrink? Shrink. Makes it fatter because it's a fraction. A fraction less than 1. How about that? All right. Now, on number 5, what would your common denominator be? Between 12 and 12? Well, yeah. It's going to be 12. It's going to be the bigger one. Always just use the bigger one. Does everybody understand that? If there's something weird like 5 and 4, multiply them together and use that number. It does not matter if it's too big or too little. It'll work itself out. Okay. So on this one, I know that I can multiply 6 by 2 and get 12. So 12 is going to be my least common denominator. But if you can't figure it out, you can multiply them together, the two different ones, and it'll cancel itself out throughout, okay? So if you get something weird, just multiply by both of them. So on this one, I can multiply by 12 to eliminate it. So be careful on this. You're going to leave that as 12x. When you distribute here, it's just going to get rid of that 12. If you need to, use your calculator, but think about it like this. What is 12 divided by 6? So I still have a 2 in the top, which makes a minus 14. Okay. If you don't see that, put it in your calculator. 12 times 7 over 6 gives 14. Okay. Use your calculator if you have to. Don't be freaked out. Don't feel like you're dumb because you put it in. Because if I go back and look at what I just deleted, I probably put in some dumb stuff at times. Like sometimes I'll put in like, today I put in 19 over 20. I know it's 5 points off, but for some reason I just did it. You know what I'm saying? Just not thinking, just put it in. So don't stress out. I do it too. All right. And then the 85 over 12 will just reduce to 85. Now you're back to the normal. Move your 85. So 12x minus 85. There's nothing to pull out. So I'm just putting my blanks in. 14 divided by 2 squared is, put it on both sides, 49 minus 85. So 12x minus 36 equals y minus 7 squared. This number is going to be divisible by 12. They make it easy for you right now. Sometimes it won't be, but for the most part today and throughout our chapter, this is going to be divisible by 12. We're going to add the 36 over. So 12x equals y minus 7 squared. We're going to add the 36 over. And our last step is to divide everything by that 12. I get x equals, how do I rewrite this middle part right here?
1 over 12, y minus 7 squared.
Perfect. And then 36 divided by 12 is 3. What's your vertex? 3, 7. That transformation is right 3 up 7. Which way does it point? To the right. And then is it fat or skinny? Is it stretch or shrink? Shrink, because it's 1/12. So it's really, the smaller the fraction, the fatter it's going to be. So think about it. You went up 1 and out 12, if that makes sense. You moved in from it and went out 12. All right. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to work on that number 4 for you guys. Hopefully the fractions have cleared up. If not, just keep asking me, guys. Always ask if you get on the quiz. And I know somebody messaged me Thursday night, but I was at baseball practice. If you'll give me a minute when I get home, I'll get back to you. It's not a problem, okay? So you had this one. And it asks you to put it in vertex form. It is. It is in vertex form. Why is it in vertex form? Remember this? You guys remember that? So don't stress out if you don't see another X or you don't see it written like this, because that's already in vertex form. So the number with X is 0. So if you're looking for the vertex, you're going to have a 0, 3. Which way does this one open? Look at it.
Up.
Up. So remember, y equals is either up or down. How do you know the difference? It'll be a positive. This one will be a negative. If it's x equals, it's going to open left or right. Left is negative, right is positive. They're going to be put together, okay? They're going to be intermixed together. So you're going to have to be able to identify that. All right? Don't screw up just because you're not like take that minute to see it, if that makes sense. I know you know how to do it. The problem is take your time and make sure you know which equation you're looking at. Has everybody got it? All right. So I'm going to stop the sharing, stop recording.